Let's turn now to the situation on the ground in Ukraine, where Russian forces appear to be ramping up efforts to take on an eastern city. Bakhmut has been the focus of intense fighting for months. Ukrainian troops have dug in, trying to deny desperate Russian forces their first significant victory for some time. Reporter Sarah Larniuk is in Ukraine for us in the northeastern city of Kharkiv. So, Sarah, thank you for joining us. There continues to be claims and then counterclaims as well about the Battle of Bakhmut. What is the latest?
So what we've been hearing for weeks is that not only are new Russian troops being filed into that eastern front line, but also heavy weaponry. Military brass from the Ukrainian armed forces have said that they are becoming increasingly outgunned on that eastern flank. And yesterday, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that this new Russian offensive had already begun just because of how much troop and weaponry amassing is happening on that eastern front. However, today what we saw is news out of Bakhmut that that final military push is actually begun now. This is not something that is terribly surprising. Ukrainian forces have been preparing for this earlier this week because they man the military checkpoints in and out of the city. They've started denying people to come in from the west unless they have explicit permission from the military to be there, because the security situation there has just deteriorated so much so quickly. And in the last month, what we have seen is that not only have they been amassing troops and weaponry, but they have also begun, Russian forces have also begun inching forward around the city of Bakhmut. So now they are beginning to encircle it. And now that this push has begun, they can not only approach from the east, but they can approach from the north and south and the east. And so now Ukrainian forces actually bear the risk of becoming encircled in that city if this offensive is as successful as the Russians would like it to be.
And Sarah, help us understand why Bakhmut is such a priority for Moscow and for the Russians.
That is a bit of a confusing question, actually, one that many people have wondered a lot about, because Bakhmut was a city of about 70,000 people before this war, and the region is known for sparkling wine and for salt mining. It's not any great military strategic victory here. However, many analysts have supposed that the Kremlin is very eager to have some sort of victory, and particularly a symbolic victory on the eve of the anniversary of the invasion that is coming up just in the next few days. However, the head of the Wagner group, that infamous Russian mercenary group that is fighting in the area of Bakhmut, today he said that victory is not predetermined, and then he called it a meat grinder. And that really does speak to the level of devastation that is going on both sides, Ukrainian and Russian, as they fight for every meter of territory in this region. It's truly a city that has become a shell of its former self, and many Ukrainians have taken to social media to post photos of what that city used to look like prior to the war. It is really a loss for Ukraine, regardless of which side of the battle line the city falls on.
Sarah, thank you for this. Sarah Larniuk joining us from Kharkiv, Ukraine.